Hi, I'm Inde Navarrette. I play Sarah Cushing on Superman and Lois, and you are watching Pop Culture with Pat.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So I am super excited today to be joined by today's guest. Today we are talking to Inde Navarrette, who plays Sarah Cushing on Superman and Lois, which is currently on the CW right now. So excited to
Mhm.
have you on today. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I love talking about my character. So anytime that I can do that is just great time. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, we're going to be talking all things about the show. So for myself, I want to start off by saying that I actually just recently got into the show. So I have actually
Oh, okay.
been binge watched this whole thing in about a week and a half. So I've seen everything. I
Oh
was
Lord.
I was someone who was like I was a big fan of Smallville. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to like watch any of that since playing like coming on the show or before then. But that was kind of my Superman, growing up. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I got another show. Let me give this a try, and
Yeah.
instantly fell in love with all you guys, the characters
Oh,
on the show. So I want
thank
to kind of
you.
start just like from the beginning a little bit, just going back to
Yeah.
going into the show. What was it about the character of Sarah that initially attracted you to the role in the first place?
I loved the way that she was written in the script. It was very authentic. It was very I felt like for myself, I just come off of 13 Reasons Why playing at another high schooler. And for me, I wanted to make sure that the next project that I took, I mean, it was a high schooler. So at first I was like, I'm not going to get stuck in that sort of role. But the way that Sarah is being played is a lot like other characters in the sense that it's a human experience. You have breakups, you fall in love, you have heart. Um, you have loss. You have heart as well, but um no, for her in particular, I loved her tenacity, which I think we really see this season, and we see building for multiple seasons in this season. You just see it even further. So I would say her tenacity, not necessarily just strength, but her resilience.
Yeah, no, I instantly like right from the get-go when you get introduced to her, I was like, I really like
Yeah.
this character. And just to get to kind of see that play out over the next several seasons, it's really been, something to enjoy getting to watch that
Oh, thank
unfold.
you.
Of course. Now
Yeah.
going into the show, were you nervous at all stepping into this world where, comic books, the movies and everything, you just have this very passionate fan base, but at the same time, were
Mm.
you also kind of excited just because you were getting to play a character that was new to this world and didn't have like maybe like previous expectations as some of these other characters? What was kind of your mindset going into it?
Going into it, I didn't watch anything prior because I didn't want, I looked up inspiration from Smallville a little bit with Lana Lang's character, just to kind of see in what world would things kind of be, but not necessarily too much. I didn't find myself in the world of Superman growing up. So it wasn't anything for me to kind of get nervous about because there wasn't any expectation that I had of it. But I find that that was kind of a blessing beforehand because I could play this character authentic to who I feel like she is versus what I thought she should have been perceived as. And so I didn't really have any nerves going in. I think I've gained more nerves now than I had in the very beginning because of the immensity and the love that everybody has for it, and seeing that for everybody else and seeing how important it is to everybody else. I now have a weight on my shoulders. Whereas in the beginning, I felt like I was like, oh, this is so much fun. And then now it's like, oh my God, there's like a lot of people that really, this is their world, this is their love, this is their life, this is everything. And I mean, Sarah Cushing is on the outside of it, so I still have that kind of freedom to play because I'm not a part of Superman's world per se. I'm a part of Jordan Kent's world, which is part of Clark's. But I'm like that second cousin removed, which is nice because I have more room to be whatever I would like to be.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you're definitely still obviously a big big part of that just like
Yeah.
in general. But yeah, I imagine going into it, I think that was probably a good idea too, just to kind of go into it fresh and not have any preconceived notions or anything like that.
Yeah.
Now, since being in the show, have you had the chance? Have you like delved into any of the other like comic book movies, comic books in general, any of that kind of
Ooh.
stuff? Or
I love animated things. And so, well, comic book for me, I think my first introduction in 2016 was Suicide Squad. Um, I was 15 and that blew me away. I was in love with everything that had to do with that. I still watch that. It's like a comfort movie for me. So I would say that, but also animated on HBO Max, surprisingly, which is the same thing that we're on. As a huge lover of DC because they have a lot of animated things like Batman and Harley.
yep.
And Harley was one of my favorite things that came out in the past 2 years. And the second season, I think, just came out this year. So I love anything animated, and especially when it comes to that original kind of comic bookness. It just, I mean, having a human being play it's so important, but also at the same time, I love when things are drawn and written and voice acted. It's just a different world that I love to sneak myself into.
Oh yeah, no, and that's actually another show that I gotta check out, the Harley animated show. I haven't had a chance to check it out.
Dude, that first episode, best. And I think that like that's what it is for a lot of series because that's the pilot, that's what hooks everybody. But I'm letting you know right now, the pilot of that, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything else because I'm gonna ruin it. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I can't wait because I've heard great things about it. So for Sarah, we've seen Sarah grow and evolve over these past couple seasons.
Mm-hmm.
How has playing this character helped you grow and evolve as an individual in real life?
Ooh, I think playing a character that is unable to be anything other than herself is such a beautiful way it's a beautiful headspace to consistently be in because I'm not playing anybody who's clinically insane or has anybody like I feel like those roles that you often hear actors go like I had to go to therapy afterwards. I think for Sarah, her character has been the therapy for me, where you're consistently being a person that does not say what's on her mind. So I think for me, it's kind of become one of those things where now I just say what's on my mind and I don't care.
Hey, no, it's nice when people, are honest and, like I know some people might not always like appreciate it, but I always think that it's good just when you're like upfront with people and, people know what your intentions are and everything. So there's nothing really any kind of like surprise in a situation.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Yeah. And she, I mean, the age gap between us, I'm 22, she's 15. And I think that like, also she's taught me to, I mean, forgiveness is such a huge thing that Sarah does with her parents, with herself. And I think that was gorgeous. And also just kind of keeping it upbeat. There's a lot of characteristics that me and Sarah both have. So sometimes there'll be times where I see a comment where I'm talking to somebody and they're like, oh, it seems like I'm talking to Sarah. I'm like, shit. But also at the same time, I'm like, I get it because there is a lot of similarities between me and that character. Yeah. And it's such a beautiful thing whenever Sarah gets love because I'm like, yes, that's a little check.
That's obviously always nice to hear. With your character, many of your scenes with Erik and Emmanulle, who play your parents in the series, what's it been like to work with them and just watch that dynamic evolve between the Cushing family over the years?
They're just horrible, horrible people. If anybody looks at them, they're just like those people you don't ever want to work with those people. They're just too nice. They're too nice. They're too caring. They're too thoughtful. They're too genuine. They're too angel-like. Erik's just a horribly perfect dad, and Emmanuelle's just a horribly perfect person, and they're just horrible to work with.
No sarcasm at all there.
No, none. They're just terrifically terrible human beings.
I love that though with this family. I feel like it's a really good representation of what a lot of people are going through with their families in the country. So it's kind of refreshing to see that rather than just necessarily like a family that seems like it's perfect and there's nothing wrong. There's no issues or anything like that going on. Yeah. So it was nice to see that kind of, portrayed over these couple seasons with you guys.
I don't doubt that. I think there's sometimes where I'm a little jealous of the audience that gets to see our show and not know us. like, I'm so jealous of that. I would love to be able to like take out my brain and put somebody else's in and just like watch the show and understand what they see. Because I couldn't imagine growing up with a show like ours and being able to see what we put on screen, like last night's episode, or today's Thursday. So like 303, where, Sarah and Lana are really getting into it, and the relationship that she has with Kyle. I think anytime that I see any parental and child relationships on screen, they just hit me so hard, because it's such a relationship between a child and a parent, so important. And I love, love, love Sarah's relationships with her parents, because it's insane, but it's so true. Like, no parent that watches our show can kind of go like, yeah, me and my child have never done that before. There's no way. No matter how perfect of a parent that you want to be, there's no way. I mean, granted, maybe some parents don't, it's not their child, but it's definitely the ugly side of being a parent and the ugly side of being a child, where you're just sometimes an ugly human.
Yep.
And that happens.
Yeah,
and then
no
you learn from it. And and anybody to Emmanulle's effect, that monologue, I cannot stop talking about this. That monologue that she had at the very end, where she's listening in on Sarah's door, just breaks my heart, because Sarah's not there. She can't listen to what her mom's saying. She doesn't hear the apology. She doesn't hear the way that she doesn't want to be like her own mother. And it's just so heartbreaking and so true, and written by Jay beautifully. Like, it's just, and Jay Jameson is one of our writers. He's phenomenal. He wrote this episode.
Yeah, no, I mean, just like why, I don't know if it was because like watching it in such like a small like window too, but there is definitely a number of moments throughout the first couple seasons that's definitely gotten me to tear up, a couple times. And that's when a show's really working, when it, it hits you that way, like emotionally. So I really appreciate that this, just with, there's so many, and it's great. Like there's so many different comic book, shows and movies and things like that. So, and don't get me wrong, I love, like, for the most part, love them all. But it's nice with this show that not only, I would say it's almost more about the family aspect than it really is about the superhero stuff.
Oh, okay.
And at least for me, I don't know if that that for everybody, but I almost kind of like that, because it just makes it's a little, fresher than some of the other, stuff that we've got, where it's just like, oh, world's ending, got to save this. So I like the little moments that we get in the show with the characters, where they're just having like a conversation.
Yeah. And I love it, because it keeps things fresh, because there's no dynamic that a family can go through it can be repeated, but not in a way that is any different than it would have been before. Versus, I feel like there's a lot of shows that I watch where it gets to that season 3 and you're like, babe, we've done this before, kind of a thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure there's going to be people out there that are like, honey, that happens in your show too. And I'm going to be like, yes, I understand. But it's definitely, for our show, I think, within the familial aspect, where lessons will pop up again and again and again until you learn them. And I think that is like tattooed on Sarah's forehead for this episode, is that things will continue to happen until you finally put like a nail in the coffin. Yeah. So
I agree.
That's all I'm going to continue to say. I say way too much. There was an interview that I did where I spoiled everything. I was like, we got to go back.
Whoops. We got to redo that all.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, one of the things too that I wanted to ask you about. So in season 1, Sarah didn't really have that female friendship, with another character on the show. So it was nice to see her and Natalie in season 2. What was it like working with Tayler, and who plays Natalie, and just seeing that friendship develop over these seasons?
Tayler Buck is phenomenal. She is extremely professional, and she's extremely kind. So working with her, she gives you time and space that she needs. There's a scene that I think we did last season. It's funny because I cut my hair between the seasons. So whenever I'm trying not to tell spoilers, I just remember whether or not I had long hair or short hair. And I do not, it was my quinceañera. So it was last season, where Sarah still doesn't know the secret, and Natalie's really upset over her mother. And I'm like, well, we can do something for Dia de los Muertos where you create like an altar and we can respect your mother that way. And like, let's just get a photo. And she's like, no. And during that scene where Tayler has to be really vulnerable, it was such a beautiful moment, because that was one of our first scenes together, really, where instant chemistry and just the way that she's able to bring things up, and it's very natural, and you're looking at her and you just want to hug her. You just want to make sure that she's okay because it's just coming from this raw place, and it's really beautiful to watch someone like her work. I genuinely can't wait to see like where she goes because I love watching her work. I could talk about her for hours, but she's amazing.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, and I imagine it. Yeah, it must have meant a lot for you too to have another human being feel comfortable enough. I mean, I know you guys are acting, on the show, but to feel comfortable enough to feel that open with someone else, be that vulnerable, like you said. So I imagine it's just like appreciated that moment.
Exactly, and somebody who's on the show with you and your age, and I have so many words to say, but she's just. It's a beautiful relationship on and off screen. Yeah.
Now, who from the show do you wish that, you've gotten to work with like a decent amount of different characters on there. Who do you wish that Sarah would get to interact with more, or maybe even for, the first time? And how do you see that interaction maybe going with them?
I don't have any work with Tayler, really. I don't have a lot of work. I do. It's interesting. I think I've done a lot of scenes with Fitzy. Not a lot of scenes, but I've done a fair amount of scenes with Fitzy. Never done really a scene with Dylan Walsh other than in season 2 where he's coming to pick us up from the party and we get in a car crash. And I remember everybody's been caught doing something once in their life. And I remember Dylan showing up to that party and instantly, like, I felt like I was 14 getting caught again. I was like, whoa. Like, his demeanor and the way he was in the suit, I was like, hi. Dylan, I would love to work with again. Sophia, are you kidding me? Sophia Hasmick. Let's talk about an actor. Let's talk about somebody who's professional. Sophia, whom you spoke with earlier. Yes, oh my God, that woman. I would love to work with her again. I don't think I've had many scenes with her, if any scenes with her. And now she's dating my dad. So I'm going to have to.
Yeah. We better get some more scenes than
we better get some better scenes.
Come on, writers for Superman Lois.
Come on. I know you see this.
Let's make this happen.
Yeah.
So you've done 3 seasons of Superman and Lois at this point. I know you guys just recently wrapped up officially, like on the 3rd season. Which, by the way, congratulations, on that wrapping up. Of course. Yeah. So, what moment or scene that you've done are you most proud of so far up to this point in this show?
Ooh, I would say episode 3 for sure, because you see the buildup of Sarah just being just being such a stubborn child. And you see her in the very beginning where my little brother just left, where she is incredibly just kind of making jokes and then like doesn't understand, even though she fully understands why she's in trouble. She's just playing that I don't understand why I'm in trouble, to try and see if anybody goes, yeah, I don't understand why you're not in trouble too. Because whenever she's in the back truck with Kyle, she's like, I knew you would take his side. Like, it's just like, that was such a beautiful scene. But you see this arc of her just being that bratty teenager to where she finally takes it way too far. And so I would say that arc in this episode, I didn't understand it as much whenever I was acting it, because we act things out of scene, but watching it put together, I was like, that was such a beautiful way to show that like something that you can think is going to go one way, babe, is going to go completely a different way, and that you're going to have to figure it out from there. And it wasn't your intention in the beginning to get to that point, but I think that arc was really beautiful. And getting to throw beer in somebody's face. If you add a clip to that, I swear, if you want a beer, and then it's like, here's a beer, bitch. That to me, my career could die tomorrow and I would be happy. That being able to throw a beer in somebody's face, and bless his heart, I'm 5 foot. I'm a very short woman. And so this kid, Zachary, is well over 6 feet. And when I shot it up, it went up his nose. So pobrecito, every single time he went back to his chair, had to blow out beer in his nose, and consistently, oh my God, that poor kid. No, Zachary, well done, kid, because it was over and over and over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, you don't just do one take unless you get very lucky. I was like, you do a number of different takes, you
do a number of takes. You get slapped multiple times, and you throw beer up somebody's nose multiple times. It's
so kudos to him for taking that.
Oh yeah, Zachary, if you're watching this, kudos to you, babe.
Now, and Sarah, we've kind of like talked about this too. Sarah has so many layers to her character that we've gradually gotten to explore over these past few seasons. what's been your favorite aspect of her to explore so far? And what else would you love to tackle with this character going forward?
Ooh, I've loved to explore the way that, damn, that's a good question. How open she is something that we've gotten to see multiple times throughout all 3 seasons. That's something that is consistent with Sarah. She's always open. We even when she's closed off, you can tell that she's the kind of person where, like, if you ask her what's going on, she will tell you. I think something that I would love to explore more with her is to see her to herself, where it's solely about kind of what's going on in her brain. And she's very outward, if you would. I don't know how to explain this, so follow along this little diagram with me. She's very outward, and I think that she's very open to other people in the first 3 seasons. She's wanting to be understood. She's wanting to be loved, and may not be going about that the right way. But then season 3, you get to see this underside of her come out, and you get to see her grow. And it's kind of like that friend in high school that you got to see, where it's like, oh, something's a little different. And whether or not that sticks with them into adulthood, and you get to see the before and after of a person, or you kind of just see where this journey takes them, is where she's going right now. But I would love to see her. Oh my God, I'm so jealous of the fact in 303 that the boys and Tayler got to do that insane scene. That I cannot stop watching it because it's so good. And I remember watching the stunts the day of, and I remember watching everybody do it, not the day of, but like afterwards. They had showed me the viz and the stunts in the stunt room. And I was just sitting there. I was like, you guys have me crying, and I want to be doing this stuff. So I definitely think having Sarah hotwire a car or be the getaway car or something. Are you
That would
kidding
be fun.
me?
Yeah.
She's got a Firebird. Let her do it.
Let's say, come on, and that's something else. We were just giving the creators different ideas right here. So
exactly. Come on, guys.
One of the things too, Indy, that I just wanted to say to you that, from different just videos that I've seen from you, like online, one of my favorite things about you is just with how like open you are, and just how you're not afraid to tell it how it is, but you're also very mindful of making sure people have a positive mindset, with different things. So I just wanted to, did you have someone growing up? Like, where did that come from? Did you have someone growing up that you kind of looked up to, that you had that? Or is it more so that, I know you have a lot of young fans out there, so is that something that you wanted to make sure that you're that positive influence for them, just as like an individual, but as, Sarah on the show too?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a very beautiful question, first of all. And thank you for asking that. I've never been asked that before. And I think that, like I mentioned before, a positive mindset, I think, is so important, because it really changes the way that you go about life. And I think there are so many things in this world that we can be negative about. And we have every right to be. We have every right to be so extremely pissed off and angry about so many different things. But I think it's really important for us as human beings, in order to be sustainable and in order to live every single day the way that we want it to, and just be happy and not carry around so much weight that we don't need to carry, is to be positive. And watching my mom grow up I was a child, but she was a single mom. And every single day she had to do everything herself. And my mom is the most kindest woman you will ever meet in your entire life. That woman's laugh and smile, and she's a hairstylist, and the way she has clients laughing, and anytime that I walk in on her and her friends talking, she's laughing. Anytime that I meet somebody from her being in high school, they say that I remind them of her. It's just the biggest compliment that you could give me. She's a light in it, like in of itself. And I think that with the way that life can go, you can be very pessimistic, which is okay. That is an option. That is an avenue that you have every right to take. Yeah. But I just love the route that my mom took, because it's just every single day to her. She always says that we go on little adventures. And at the very beginning of my acting career, I never remembered a no, because we lived in Fresno. So it was 4 hours away. And so we would drive 4 hours to an audition. And then we'd do the audition. And whether it was terrible or not, we'd go get food afterwards, but we didn't live anywhere in the area. So we'd look up on maps and we'd say like, oh, this is a hookah lounge with really good like balaclava. Okay, we're going to go there. Well, I'm 15. Can I get inside the hookah lounge? Well, she's 15, but I'm her mother. Let's take her in. And so we'd go in. And then the chef was serving her a whole lot of desserts. And I was like, Mom, I think the chef is flirting with me. And she's like, no, I don't think that's happening. I'm like, Mom, the chef is definitely flirting with you. So it's like memories like those that I remember instead of every single audition that I've ever been on, because I've been on tons, but I don't remember the no's. I just remember the yeses. And I just remember these really good memories that I had with my mom. And I think that whenever your day is going really horrible, it's kind of, you take it into chunks. Like, if you have a really bad morning, okay, that's your first quarter and that's fine. And then your second quarter and then your third quarter and your fourth quarter, and just kind of having a positive mindset about things in this industry and outside. So I have to thank my mom for that.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Was a a beautiful, beautiful little story right there. So
Yeah.
to wrap things up, Indy, do you, as far as just like season 3, for the rest of season 3, what can, obviously without going into any spoilers, but what can fans just expect overall for the rest of the season?
Damn it. There's so many things I want to say. I think that, no, it's horrible. There's a lot of things that I want to say that have absolutely nothing to do with the Cushing family and everything to do with Superman, because I read it and I'm really excited about it, but I can't talk about it. But damn it, Pat. Okay, we're going to say that this season has a lot of twists and turns and a lot of new actors that I can't wait for everybody to meet.
Perfect. That sounds great. I can't wait to watch the rest of the season. I mean, the show's been amazing so far up to this point. Thank you again so much, Indy, for again, for taking time out of your schedule to come on here, talk about the show, talk a little bit about your life. It was really nice, getting to know you a little bit. And thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. Hi, I'm Inde Navarrette. I play Sarah Cushing on Superman and Lois, and you are watching Pop Culture with Pat.